Thank you very much, Cindy. So, yes, I have been the tax man, and I have been the council tax man. So that's all now done. So therefore, I think it's important, therefore, to understand these positions, and I think it's very important to make sure you've worked both sides of this ecosystem. And I certainly draw on my experiences that I had at HMRC, bringing together Inland Revenue and Customs and Excise in a cultural change. And at the same time, when we then went and scanned everybody in this room's house plans and every business plan for business rates and council tax, and then somewhere early, securely got rid of those physical plans. So lots of cultural change there. I'm in a very privileged position currently in my current role, and so as the Chief Technology Officer for Fujitsu UK and Ireland, that means I get to see and work across every industry that we serve. And that works from defence, national security, from retail, where many of the high street shops we work with, to logistics, through to manufacturing, through to construction, utilities and resources. And in doing so, one of the videos that I almost shown or wanted to was therefore showing how we touched the lives of nearly 99, in fact over 99% of the people in the entire United Kingdom every single day of the week, without fail. Be that the PNC, if you're in trouble or about to be in trouble with the police. Be that defence, be it in Afghanistan where we have active serving members. Be that in national security, which we won't talk about. Or be it in billing people for utility bills. Or be it in getting your registering births or deaths or taxes and every single facet pretty much that supports society in the United Kingdom. Mostly, you never notice us therefore. But pretty much therefore, it surprised me a number of things that, well, we've laid 90,000 kilometres of subsea fibre optic cable, which we support. That's enough to go around the Earth twice. We've therefore supported the infrastructure for over 70% of the UK and Ireland's broadband. Not many people know that. So, therefore, we have 100,000 patents, 170,000 people globally, and 130,000 of those are in Japan. The largest IT supplier in Japan, and therefore we're the fourth largest globally. Now that's a lot of capability in what is, in Japan, a very forward-thinking cultural market. And there's a lot of that capability that we're only now starting to bring across. So spending time in Tokyo, which is a very interesting experience, there's a tremendous amount of intellectual property which I know we can, and increasingly will, bring towards the broader global village which we all inhabit. So I'm going to cover a few things. And other than my sort of role, formally, equally, like us all in this room still, I'm a customer. So I'll talk about things from a customer's perspective, which a number of speakers have already done, and I will probably echo some of the same themes. I'll talk a bit about our vision and what we can do. So, slides. I'll talk a bit about the as-is perception. A bit about the forces for change, which we've seen some of already. A bit about that to be. Where can we get to? And we're hearing some of this now with the experience from Scotland and beyond. Water refreshed. There's not going to be too many puns, although I'm sure you can pretty much take many phrases, and you've all heard them before, but of refreshing the water industry, and a little bit of adding some of that ICT, which I think increasingly can start to help to transform the industry which we all in this room enjoy working in and supporting society. So, the as-is perception. We've touched on some of this already. So I, as a customer, and I'm afraid actually, therefore I am a customer of someone in this room, of some company in this room, and I'm ashamed and I'm slightly embarrassed to say that I actually don't know which company it is. I did think about looking in the filing cabinet and try and find the sort of every 6-month bill that I get, but as it's paid by direct debit, and as I broadly trust it's broadly right, I seldom, if ever, look at it. And therefore it comes in, gets filed and goes. And I suspect that I am one of many, not all, because therefore paying for water is absolutely, for many people in this country, a potential problem as the water bills in continuously increase. But fortunately, I don't have to worry about it. Now, as such, therefore, I really don't think anybody has a view other than actually, well, I live in that property, and that bill goes out, somebody reads it somehow, some way, someplace. I have no clue whether the reading on the meter is absolutely accurate. Whilst I do dutifully go and check sometimes the electric meter and sometimes the water meter, which of course the electric meter's now got smart, and therefore I can do that online with a nice graph. The gas meter hasn't talked to it yet because it's a bit too far away, but that's a technology issue which we can solve. The water meter, I've never gone out and tried to find it in the drive. I kind of know where it is. I have no idea it's right. So, kind of anonymous. I don't know the company and they don't know me. I just know the company, whoever it is, by the fact I get a logo, which I can't remember, and I get a bill. And it's a no-cost option. I need to pay for it. That's it. I've got rainwater harvesting. I'm doing my bit. But actually, whilst I'm looking forward to the Renewable Heat Initiative coming in April, and I've already got solar panels, which there is incentivising cultural change. Actually, there isn't anything yet to do that cultural shift in water. I've got a great 5,000 litre tank, and I harvest all the water, and there's a whole bunch of things to flush the loos, etc. But I'm not being encouraged to do that. And it probably will never pay for itself. It's a reactive estate. The anecdote here is, like many, I walk down the hill to work, the train station every day. See, on a day that's not raining, a sort of trickle of water down the hill, blah, 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 think nothing of it. See it again the second day, the third day, the fourth day. Comes the weekend my wife going, God, I think there's a leak on the road. It seems to be getting worse too. She said, I think I noticed that too, because there's tracks going all the way down. What do we do about it? I have no idea. So we then trunk down, okay, is it a water supply? Is it a water supply? No, okay, we'll contact the council. Eventually, long story short, yes, we find the right place, it gets reported, and then some spray paint applies on the road. And then a week later, sort of like workmen turn up and it's sorted. 2 or 3 weeks it sort of happened. Now, that absolutely is a reactive estate. Because quite frankly, you know what, if you read, as the Martin showed earlier, if you read the water meter, even if they've all got water meters, every 6 months, it'll take you at least 6 months to figure out actually that there is something going on in terms of loss that you otherwise can't find. So, and there's many proactive things being done, but as we've all attested to, a fairly reactive estate. Now, supply is absolutely fantastic. Because guess what? I trust what comes out the tap, which can't be said of all the places we go. And therefore, as we've said before, we get to completely rely on what is the fundamental building block of human life that we're even going to Mars to find. So, that's the as-is perception. And there's many more dimensions to it, but as I sort of see it. Now, social challenges, which we've touched on already. There was a stat before about 2050. The one I'm using is to 2030. Now, by 2030, therefore, we're moving to a relatively moderate increase in population, but the amount by which we're consuming the Earth's resources is increasing disproportionately with that population increase, as we're currently going. And of course, it doesn't take the appropriate rocket scientists, given the Mars analogy, to work out that it's not sustainable. And therefore, we all need to be doing more than we currently are to ensure we can continue to enjoy the society in which we live in every day. Especially given this will only increase, given the middle class expectations that was increases in all of the areas in China and in India, the heavily populated areas which traditionally haven't yet consumed as much as we have enjoyed in the past. So, forces for change. All of these have more broadly been touched on already. Now, I see these, in some respects, as you could see them as sort of risks on a sort of pestle. Political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental sort of risks in 3 main vectors. Competition, regulation, security, starting with security, with the social challenges, etc. we're putting up with. Martin again covered on the drought sort of side of things. Nearly getting drought, whilst in other areas, therefore, nearly flooding. Now, actually, conversely, I think we've turned these round, we turn this into a virtuous circle. That virtuous circle, meaning to say, actually, therefore, this will drive at pace, if this works, the transformation which can actually increase the supply, increase the longevity of the organisations in this room and increase the revenue and profit margins too, if it's done well. And at the same time, driving down unit cost and making it a better place for the customer, a better experience for the customer, both industrial and consumer. So, how do we do this? If we change it to this, again, the same 4 quadrants we looked at. Now, picture of a family, not my family, but a picture of the top left, a personalised service. So whilst I do get a relative plethora of bills in sort of brown, white, and blah, blah envelopes, some of which I check, some of which I don't, and most of which go direct debit. Actually, you know what? I really kind of would like just one. One bill, one number to ring. And were I to fall into debt, I'd have one debt collections organisation to deal with. Actually, if it was all summarised on one bill, that would be marvellous. And guess what? I'd fully expect it to be a reduced and lower cost. And a personalised service, where I was incentivised on all the vectors of the utilities that I consume to pull together. I get lots of great advice from my electricity company and my sort of gas company on how I can reduce the energy and the gas that I consume with a lot of the gadgets in the house. But I don't get anything per se that I'm aware of from the water company, whichever one that is. I do get, I'm pretty certain, from the energy company, a bunch of financial products trying to scare me into the fact I need leak protection and stuff like that in case I get a burst. But I'm pretty certain that's not from the water company. So, I think we'll move to a personalised service. That's what I certainly would like, and certainly as a consumer, and from a business perspective, with the data centres that we've got in the UK, and with the fact that we employ 11,000 people in the UK in many different varied locations, I'd kind of like make sure we have, from a company perspective, one bill too. And we optimise that, and we have one arranged set of negotiated commercial positions, which is optimal between us and our partner supplier, be it for cooling the data centres, abstracting the heat from that same supply that we could do, and for the environment, and then giving some of that heat back to where we want it. Given we are also, strangely enough, in the Southeast Asia, the largest manufacturer of air conditioning and heat pumps. Another analogy, therefore, of things that we could leverage from a very different geography into the UK. So, top right, a value brand, rather than a bill from whom I don't know where it comes, to a brand that I trust, because I trust the water that comes out of that tap. And actually, I haven't got the same issues with the water company, when I know it, as I might have with the electricity company. The electricity coming into my house is pretty dirty. Now, I kind of know that most people don't necessarily look at that, but actually I do. And therefore, I know that it goes from about 252 down to about 225 in some occasions in very sloppy, big peaks. That's not good for the things in the house. And now, actually, I don't expect that, and I don't think I get that from the water company. But if we can therefore leverage that trust, I think the society is based on that very fundamental element of human trust. And I think we already have that in spades with the water we enjoy in the UK. I think proactive estate management. A great example Martin's already shown about finding, because you know what, I don't want to be billed on 15-minute increments, but I could be. However, in doing so, you kind of know, without waiting 6 months, where the leak is, at least the area. All of that's possible. Now, put in smart meters, excellent. However, you know what? I've already got a 3G connection onto the smart meter from my energy company. Why are we going to pay for 2? We don't need to. The gas meter is supposed to talk to the electric meter. The electric meter, therefore, is a hub. You only need one hub. If we manufacture femtocells, which we do, the repeaters for 4G, 3G stuff in Japan, we already manufacture and we build broadband routers. Those are basically just Linux boxes, right? Now, smart meters are effectively the same thing. Wouldn't it be better if we just had one hub in any household or business, which is the concentrator for all those comms and for all that information, which then is creating an asset by which we can leverage and create new services, new value that we can deliver to the consumer, and new revenue streams for you. Value adding. I've touched on that already. That completely changes the positioning of that company, you, into the society which you support. So, water refreshed, the pun. I hope thus far I've given a couple of examples in each of these different verticals. Now, we are already supporting in the UK a high street brand become a home phone and broadband supplier. And we joined later on in the panel and throughout the next 2 days by many other brands who are going into and already gone into and supplying energy, phone, mobile phones, and broadband, and potentially content. Increasingly as BT, etc., goes into the sport industry, which is paying handsomely to try and dominate. So all of these are coming together. Water, thus far, has not been part of that simple equation. I think now is the absolutely great opportunity that people in this room can and are doing in some instances. I was talking to somebody in the break that is already creating a JV to start to get after this. Now, you can say, well, we haven't got the capital to invest in it, so we create JVs. Equally, well, we're spending 1.5 billion a year on research and development. We've got 6 identical global cloud platforms that can support in any given geography whatever the data restraints and security requirements, given we work with national security to top secret and above, through defence, police, national computers in the works, as a zero capital required option. Sensors that we have, that we're taking to Balfour Beatty, to Tokyo later this month. Was in Munich with them last week, and therefore putting truly intelligent sensor-based networks of systems into the very fabric of the things and the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure which is being built. Now, that is a lot of information, right? And, big data, we can't afford it. But you know what, actually, again, don't pay for the capital investment, consume it as you need it. We manufacture a lot of servers and a lot of storage. Therefore, isn't it better, therefore, that we use and support our own servers and pay, therefore, actually you sell it back as a service, a cloud, no, again, no pun intended, service. Now, I'm going to get back to the brand, but the brand promise of Fujitsu is shaping tomorrow with you. And that's fundamental. And it's not something that we've done very much in the past in the UK, but it's fundamental to the culture of the Japanese company which I work. And it very much invests in that future and invests in working with true partners in terms of taking research and development and not necessarily behind the scenes creating a great product and then going, ta-da, I've got something to show you, and therefore that's why you're not showing you any product here and now. What it is there is a tremendous amount of intellectual property where we are working with, and Balfour Beatty being a good example, with those companies to therefore try and create new value for those companies using the technology and the investment that we've made to date. So these, I think, are the opportunities that I would like to commend to you, that we can help you deliver many of what I've been talking about and many of the aspects that are now on that slide. And it's not just about a new CRM solution, it's not just about a new billing solution, it's not just about leveraging financial products that might be able to new values to market. It's not just about necessarily putting in place a human-centric hub into the heart of any bit of infrastructure or any hereditament, leveraging my valuation office heritage, or any bit of taxable value from my HMRC days. But actually, it's about making smarter investments in creating a smarter infrastructure for developing and delivering what is our vision, and I hope a shared vision, I think when you then come down to it, of creating a human-centric, intelligent society. Because that trust in society is that, well, IT and what we do shouldn't be for its own purpose. It's to enrich our lives. Very selfishly, but actually if we can therefore, of a common purpose, enrich the lives of every aspect and every human on the planet in a non-selfish fashion, then we can make life a better place on this earth that we currently inhabit. So, we've got 3 levels to this. We've got physical infrastructure, the kind of things that you kind of assume that I'm here and Fujitsu's here all about, and we do. 90,000 kilometres of subsea fibre optic cable is an example. 70% of the UK's broadband infrastructure is another example. Actually, what is the new platform and new layer are some of the things like social media, which you may well, as one example only, therefore have been tweeting things today on the Twitter and or social media of any different description. That's a hell of a lot of information, excuse my French, that's coming up, be it if you're reading water meters every 15 minutes and gas and electric, and you're doing appliance DNA, therefore you can tell, based on consumption, actually what is being turned on and off and when, without changing anything, and every single light bulb in this room being separately addressable in terms of an IP address, and therefore whatever the circuit definition, you could therefore independently switch and control each independent luminescent bulb in here as another mere example. These are all things that we can do, and separately is another good example, right? So therefore, well, I'm not sure this might be addressable in this industry, but I think it probably can. Imagine, if you will, a tablet. You've probably all taken a tablet this week, I suspect, be it a headache tablet or otherwise, possibly tomorrow morning. In doing so, we have a chip, the size of a grain of sand, which is powered by enzymes. Now, therefore, so you stick it onto a tablet, currently, therefore, being past medical trials in the UK and in the US, and be piloted in some various things into pharmaceutical drug testing, etc. As the price comes down, there's a lot of tablets, right, that people take. Then you, therefore, wear a plaster. The plaster has got 4 meg memory, and it, therefore, receives the passage of the tablet throughout your body from ingress to egress, and therefore tracks it and whatever it's doing to your body, and therefore records it and then talks to your mobile device, which then, of course, goes to the cloud-based service. All of these things are all here and now able to be leveraged. Now, that's the information, and therefore that goes up to support the very society we're all in and enjoy. The 3 levels, therefore: optimizing IT systems end-to-end, which, again, we've talked about a bit. Actually powering business and powering people through that very information which is being generated synergistically from that intelligent and IT fabric. And all of that is for people. It's not there for any other reason. So, just adding ICT. Whether you're talking about customer insight, rather than just this many litres in this 6-month period, consumed or through waste, or be it incentivizing doing the right thing with rainwater harvesting or grey water or otherwise, or actually, possibly therefore, taking the heat out of the very water at the right points, which actually therefore can reduce energy consumption and give heat to where it's needed and cooling to where it's needed efficiently. Because there's a massive symbiotic relationship, in my view, between many of the facets of the utility industry, which should be there to be harnessed. And are in some respects, but I think there's a great opportunity to do that. It's all about people first, about leveraging information. It's about making that fair profit, which the regulators are there to facilitate. And I do think that, given all of this, be it an augmented reality, another example. Augmented reality would be delivering this calendar year to be able to take, overlay in any engineering or otherwise environment. Be able to take, with a waterproof device, you can see out there, any device in any context, look at a said environment. Google goggles would do this too, right? But effectively, use a dynamic head-up display equivalent, put it in the environment and go, I tell you what, actually, yes, you need to turn that valve to increase the pressure until it tells you to stop. Yes, stop. And then you've actually then pressed OK to done it. And, of course, the camera then picks up and audits the fact you've then done it, tells you what to do next, and it reacts dynamically to the environment that you're actually operating. I am not a water industry engineer expert, but I do and am aware of many of the contexts that I think that would help support. And that's available again this year. So, last slide. And this is generally, if not careful, last slide of any presentation is a throwaway. It's the I'd walk off, say thank you very much, and I got off. I very much now start to use this as the very first slide, which of course I didn't do in this instance. But I just wanted to highlight what I said at the beginning. that they're very much, this is the brand promise, Fujitsu shaping tomorrow with you. And that's absolutely passionately what culturally, as a Japanese-based company, which is a very loyal culture, passionately believe in doing. Delivering a better and more prosperous society and doing it with you for a symbiotic mutual benefit. Thank you very much.